Hi, Jeff from Tone. How's it going today? Say, it's PrimaLuna Day here, and I've got a pair of PrimaLuna EVO 300 power amps, and you can switch these to be used as monoblocks, which we've got here, and they deliver in mono into 8 ohms. They deliver a little over 200, I think 200, 225 watts per channel. So these are pretty robust amplifiers, and they're just a touch under 15,000 a pair. So let's check a little bit more out here and see what we've got. As you can see, I've got a pair of these to work with. Down where the inputs are, you can see there's a left and right channel, although you'll only use one if you bridge them as monos. And PrimaLuna's added a couple more convenience features like the trigger, and you'll see down here, you've got balanced and RCA inputs and stereo and mono switches. If you're already a fan of the PrimaLuna brand, or maybe you have a PrimaLuna amp now, or you've just been reading about them, you probably, and you'd be correct, PrimaLuna's built their 25-year reputation on building tube amps, preamps, and integrateds. But the EVO 300 is a hybrid design with a tube input stage and a solid state output. If you've been around high-end audio for a while, you probably know there's been a couple of pretty decent hybrid designs out there, and it kind of gives you the best of both worlds. You get the current drive and the punch and slam of a solid state amplifier with, all the great stuff that comes with a tube preamplifier, a little bit more air, a little bit more three-dimensionality. Oftentimes people will use a tube preamplifier and a solid state power amplifier to kind of get the same result, or at least a similar result. But what makes these really unique, I think, is that they're not crazy money, and they're enough power to drive nearly anything you'd hook them up to. I mean, 225 watts a channel should be just fine with anything you've got. And it gives you just a little bit different sound. Later on, we're going to do a straight up comparison between these, and I use the EVO 400 power amplifiers in mono as a tube reference here. So we'll really fine tune it and go through the exact ins and outs, because you're probably thinking, well, gee, why should I get the tube amp? Why should I get the hybrid amp? Part of that's going to depend on your room, your system, how loud you like to play music, how easy or hard your speakers are to drive, and, really at the end of the day, exactly what flavor you like. I mean, do you like chocolate, or, do you like chocolate fudge with this or that in it? I mean, it's not a super huge difference, but it is a difference. And my guess is if you get a chance to hear both, or you've got an opinion one way or the other, there's definitely one that you'll prefer. Plus, much as I love tubes, the PrimaLuna EVO 400s use 8 tubes per, and even though PrimaLuna is easier on their output tubes than just about anybody else out there, that's still 16 tubes when it comes time to retube. So that's a cost you won't have with the EVO 400. And the input tubes are 12AU7s instead of 12AX7s. I think I mentioned that earlier. And for those of you who like to swap and roll tubes, the 12AU7s as new old stock or vintage tubes, or even just different 12AU7s from contemporary manufacturers, are way less expensive and more plentiful than the 12AX7s that many other manufacturers use. So that gives you a few extra options too. So for now, we're going to give these some more listen time. You'll see a review very soon. And if you read my review about the EVO 300 integrated, sonically, this amplifier is very similar to the integrated, but you have, if you're using these in mono, you have that entire power supply for one channel versus that entire power supply for a stereo pair. So, and of course, if you're somebody that wants all separates, either you've got a PrimaLuna preamp, you've got a preamp that you're really in love with, now you can split it up. This has RCA and XLR inputs. Like all PrimaLuna products, there's some unique stuff here that you can't get anywhere else, and price and performance that's tough to beat, not to mention longevity. My original PrimaLuna Prologue 1 amp is still going strong after 25, almost 26 years. I had one little resistor blowout after 26 years that the folks at Echo Audio repaired for me quickly and wasn't even $100 to fix. So I think for, 25 years, that's pretty darn good. And the amp has only been through 3 sets of tubes. So anyway, thanks for stopping by, and we'll have more for you later.